Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Mon. He'll be here shortly. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. And right on cue, as always, is my guy Mon. Mon, how you doing, bud? How's your week been?
I'm doing good. It's been a rough couple weeks. I'm glad, I'm excited about tonight's show. Before we start, I just want to say a couple things. A couple firemen that I worked with for years passed away recently. We had a memorial service yesterday. My very first lieutenant, when I started, passed away from cancer. Lieutenant Joe Moran really took care of me. And I just want to give a shout out to his family. We're praying for him. And another fireman, Andy Eister, with the Melbourne Fire Department, somebody that trained me to be a paramedic, was one of my instructors, passed away from cancer. Praying for his family. And it's been a rough couple weeks. And I just wanted to let all of our fans know out there to pray for them and their families.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thoughts and prayers to those two families, and obviously, as far as I'm concerned, heroes. You guys, what you guys do on a daily basis is nothing short of heroism. So, definitely, thoughts and prayers go to those two families, and for you, Mon. Obviously, losing somebody close is never easy. But let's let's talk about Mon the show tonight that I am very, very excited about. Guys, we have an incredible guest. One of our favorite people. Absolutely love him. Again, he really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways, just because he deserves it. You guys know him. You guys know him from Jungle to the Hall, Bengals Jim and Friends. He's got an incredible podcast. If you have not listened, you have to listen. He was the Bengals Fan of the Year back in 2021, that incredible Super Bowl run. And again, if you have never been to one of his tailgates, you are living on a different planet, because there is nothing like one of his tailgates. And we found out he is a newly proud grandfather. But let's bring him on, the man, the myth, the legend, our friend, Bengal Jim Foster. Jim, what's going on, my man?
Jake, the check's in the mail for that intro, brother. I appreciate it.
Oh, no. You listen, you deserve much more. Trust me.
No, man, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on, man. I miss you guys. I haven't seen you in a little while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. We're planning a trip back up there very soon. We're looking to obviously we'll get up there and connect with you. Obviously, I mean, again, Jim, you obviously have so much going on right now, getting ready for your Jungle to the Hall, which is coming up. We're going to get to that in just a couple minutes. But again, man, I know you're busy, and Mon and I are just so appreciative of you coming on the show. We love having you. We love talking ball with you. So thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Love talking to good people, man. I'm here for you guys anytime you need me. I appreciate you guys.
Jim, you're the glue. You're the glue of Bengals. You really are.
Listen, Mon, you know he hates that. He hates that. Jim is very humble, but Jim, you are the glue. I'm just going to say it. You're the glue.
I try to remind the younger fans, the Bengals didn't have a big, we didn't have social media back in the day, but still, he was the fan club. I mean, he started that in the 90s. We talked about it the last time he was on. I still got that card. I'm proud of it, by the way. And I used to look forward to that pizza box that came in with the T-shirts and the hats and the stickers. I think I still have some of the stickers somewhere, but that was good times. It was the best, whatever, 20, 30 bucks I spent. And
that was fun back in the day.
It was. I'm sure that was a lot of work. Yeah, we talked about that the last time you were on. But again, thanks for coming on. And let's get to this, Jake. Let's do it.
Let's get it. First of all, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you guys so much. Hooday to all of our listeners out there, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Jim, let's talk a little bit about this offseason. Mon and I have been saying it since the regular season ended. The Bengals had to hit a home run with this offseason. It started with free agency, obviously bringing Von Bell back, which I thought was absolutely huge, going out and getting Trent Brown. The Bengals have filled a lot of holes with free agency, especially on the back end of that defense, getting Geno Stone and obviously bringing back Von Bell. draft, again, Jim, I thought the Bengals did an excellent job. I really do. It's kind of a boom or bust draft, but they went in, they again filled some of those holes that they needed to fill. Jim, just tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this offseason so far, starting with Joe Burrow's health, and then talk about a little bit about free agency and the draft.
Yeah, I think you guys hit it on the nose. I don't get too excited or too upset about the draft anymore like I used to back in the day, because we really don't know what's going to happen here until the next 12 to 24 months. But let's go back to free agency, guys. I think you hit right there. I think there were some serious communication issues in the back end of that defense. Yes. That has been rectified, getting Stone and Bell back there. I'm pretty excited about that. They did a hell of a job in the offseason here. Zach Moss, I think, is a really underrated pickup this year as well. The draft itself, guys, look, man, we picked up some good guys there, man. So in free agency, we get Gesicki. Tight end room looks a lot better than it has in many, many years. Not just good, but more depth there. The Burton kid out of Alabama, I'm telling you, he's going to make an impact sooner than later. He's one of those kids that's going to come in and make an impact early, which is what you want to see. What you love about the Trent Brown pickup is you draft Mims. He doesn't have to come in and start immediately. You've got Orlando Brown and Trent Brown on either side, guys. And Mims will be there if he needs to be plugged in. But, guys, I think they nailed the draft. They nailed free agency. They specifically went for they weren't drafting for need initially in the draft. They just drafted for depth. And some, and I think free agency filling the safety situation is probably one of the biggest things they did in free agency is that second part of the second half of the secondary there. So the only thing there's maybe a little concern about is the interior defensive line. So you got some young guys coming in. You can't replace somebody like DJ, right? But I think this defense is going to look different the way Lou's going to handle it. But guys, I mean. They addressed every need, every depth, every position depth. They addressed everything they needed to. And I mean, how can you not be excited on paper about what they did, whether it's at free agency or the draft?
I agree. And Sheldon Rankins, another guy we didn't even talk about, but a great interior pass rusher. Again, like you said, Jim, you can't replace DJ, obviously. I mean, he's one of those players that is a generational talent, but going out and getting Sheldon Rankins and fixing the interior pass rush, which we all know has absolutely killed this Bengals team the last 3 years, not being able to stop it. Now maybe the addition of Sheldon Rankins, they can bring a little bit more interior pass rush and maybe not throw it all on Trey's shoulders, right?
Right. Yeah, I think, with this going back to the safety position again, I think they played as linebackers differently last year with the safety position, lack of communication back there. So they dropped these linebackers a little deeper than they normally would. So, guys, I can't wait to see what this defense does. I mean, we got to get back to top 5, top 10 defense, because that's going to help every aspect of the team and season this year. So, look, key thing here, everything we just talked about, none of it freaking matters unless Joe Burrow's on that field. So
you're right.
They've addressed that as well, making sure they're taking care of Joe. They didn't need to draft an offensive line in the first round. They did. They know everything hinges on Joe Burrow being healthy. So let's keep his ass healthy. This is gonna be a really fun year, guys. I'm pretty excited about this.
Oh yeah.
I love the fact that he put on about 10, 15 pounds of muscle. He looks bigger. And I knew he was going to recover from the wrist injury. We still have a ways to go. I get it, but the videos I've seen on Bengals.com and local news shows, in Cincinnati, he looks good throwing the football. I'm excited about that. And you hit it right on the head, Jim. He has to stay healthy. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, what's really cool. It's just Joe seems so. I don't know if he's approaching the preseason or training camp differently, but. From afar, it looks like he's approaching this differently as well. I mean, you saw a video on social media and local news here in Cincinnati, him out there helping Jermaine Burton. Hey, here's how you're going to run it. Here's how you're going to run this route. And he's doing it. I mean, he's not just out there throwing the balls around. He's out there coaching up his tight ends. He's out there coaching up his receivers. Guys, I mean, it's kind of fun to watch. I mean, they're built for this year. I mean. This T. Higgins is probably a one year deal here, right? But
Right.
man, look at that receivers room, man. Jeez, Pete's Chase, T, Burton, Yoshi, Irwin. I mean, they've got a stable of stud receivers there. We keep Joe healthy, man. This is going to be a very special season.
And like you said, Jim, I mean, look at the tight end room now with Gesicki. Obviously that's a huge pick. That's a tight end style that we haven't really had. I mean, Tyler Eifert was one of those guys, we could spread out a little bit and have some mismatch problems for defenses, between the hashes and stuff. But Gesicki, very athletic, very agile. And then they go and they draft 2 tight ends. Eric All, a guy who very athletic, obviously the injury history, but if he's healthy, and then McClanahan from Arizona, a guy that broke Gronk's record. I mean, I really think, Jim, that losing Joe last year is going to change this Bengals philosophy offensively. We're going to see a lot more 12 personnel, a lot more tight ends, and you said it. Losing Joe Mixon and losing Tyler Boyd, it's time for some other guys to step up. I'm interested to see who else is going to step up. But you already see Joe Burrow on the field coaching these guys up, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I love it, man. And again, all the tight ends there bring something different to the table. But
yes,
I don't know what I'm going to get. My opinion on this: if this Eric All can stay healthy, guys, we got a stud there. If that guy can stay healthy as well, so
agreed.
That tight end room, man, they've definitely stocked up in that tight end room there. And I don't care what anybody says. I miss Joe Mixon. He was a fan favorite here in Cincinnati. But we did upgrade there. I know there was some question marks, obviously, but Brown, Moss, Travion, these guys. But I'm telling you, Brown is the real deal. And this guy, and again, I don't have the numbers in front of me statistically, but he's much better pass blocking, picking up blitzes than Joe was. So, and more of a burst, a younger player. So, the sky's the limit for the offense for sure.
It's hard. We're all Joe Mixon fans. It's hard, but
Jim,
it happens. Go ahead, Mom.
Jake just mentioned it a few minutes ago. Joe's injury last year in a way could be a blessing in disguise because I think this offense is going to evolve a little bit. I think Coach Taylor became a better play caller, maybe a better coach, and I think the whole offense is probably going to take it to another level. Because they had to switch things up a little bit, and I think it's going to make them a better team. And I think a healthy Joe, a little revamped, evolving offense, I think the Bengals are going to take it to another level this year.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I can't wait. I'm excited about the offense because Joe's got protection. He's got additional weapons. I don't know why. I'm more intrigued to see what happens, what he does with this defense this year. So he's got some different pieces. It's going to look a little different, but we'll see. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, you already saw. Oh, go ahead, Mom. I just want to say one more thing about that.
Go ahead. I was going to transition to the next question. Go ahead.
But about Von Bell really quick, and you said it, Jim. He is the quarterback. You already see Von Bell in OTAs out there running the defense again, and you hit it on the head. I mean, Jim, I think the biggest problem last year with this entire Bengals team was the communication on the back end of the defense. That's huge. People don't realize how big that is. And having Von Bell back, I'm telling you, it's going to change the entire defense and the way that Coach Lou runs it. Go ahead.
I agree. That's why I'm more intrigued about what's going to happen on defense because Lou's going to approach things a little differently with the makeup, especially that interior defensive line without DJ. So we'll see. They're a better spot today as a team in a roster than they were when they ended the season last year, by far.
I agree.
Jim, I got to ask you this question. This is really important to me. I'm old enough to remember the 90s and everything that happened with getting the Great American Ballpark and Paycor built. What is your gut feeling? What are you hearing up there in Cincinnati with this lease negotiation? I know they're talking. Nobody has a crystal ball. The lease negotiations and the needed money to revamp Paycor. What are you hearing? What do you feel?
Look, I'm hearing things secondhand, and I'm a little close to it. But look, at the end of the day, I just got to believe this is all going to get worked out. But you're going to start hearing and seeing some things in the media. It's going to get real ugly, guys. It's going to get ugly. I'm not a negative person whatsoever. There's not a negative bone in my body. I went through this back in the 90s when we worked for the Issue One campaign to get the two stadiums built here in Cincinnati. You got some leaders on Hamilton County. It's not the city; it's Hamilton County that's dealing with these negotiations, and it hasn't gone real well. I mean, there's some baby steps here. Some of the stuff the county has put, almost $40 million into the stadium, new club seats, expanding the plaza level, which is desperately needed. A lot of upgrades. The Bengals aren't asking for a new stadium, guys. They're not asking for a new stadium. They're asking for upgrades. Just maintain the stadium. Maintain it is all they're asking for. I don't want to go into any more detail, guys, other than right now it's ugly, but that's how negotiations work. I do have some faith in one individual on the Hamilton County that's doing these negotiations. That individual is going to want to come out of this looking good. They need to come out of their pound in their chest that they got something out of this negotiation.
Right.
Unfortunately. So I know there's some frustration from the organization for sure, but man, anytime you're talking about this much money, even though it's not money to build a new stadium like we're hearing in Jacksonville and all these other cities you're hearing right now, I think it's going to get resolved. But man, I'm not looking forward to the political posturing and all the stuff that's getting ready to. It's already happening, but it's going to become more public here very soon. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of that money is basic upkeep and upgrades to like the infrastructure, the interior parts of the stadium. It's not like it's upgrades for, I hear you. I remember the 90s and it really got contentious. And I remember Mike Brown took a visit to Baltimore, and people don't realize how close he was to going to Baltimore instead of Art Modell. But he obviously stayed in Cincinnati, which I'm glad he did.
People don't want to believe that, Mon, but I'm telling you, they were this close to Baltimore, man. And look, the Brown family, the Blackburn family are Cincinnati through and through. Their families were raised here. Their kids were raised here. Caroline's getting married here, I think, right before preseason starts. They all live here in Cincinnati. My wife and I walk downtown all the time, and I run into Caroline and her fiance a lot. This family loves this city. They want to stay here. Man, I'm just glad I'm not the one talking to the politicians, because I would be very bad at negotiating.
I would too.
I gotta feel it's going to get resolved. But
Thanks,
man, how much pain and anguish and nights of sleeping are we not going to have before it gets done? That's because the deal. If you remember last time on, it was done at the 11th hour.
Yeah,
I got the feeling it's going to come down to that again. There's going to be a lot of BS in the media, and there's a small portion of the city, kind of the older folks in town, that are still upset about the Issue One campaign back in the 90s that weren't happy with it, that are coming out of the woodwork again. So I hope there's a study being done right now, because look, I'm just looking at our tailgate. Every year we have thousands of people come in from out of town, not just out of the state, from Florida and other great places, right? We get people come in from Canada, Germany, Mexico, Japan, Spain, and they don't stay for 1 or 2 days and leave. They're here for a whole damn week, mostly 3 to 5 days usually. I would love to see the financial impact, and that's just our tailgate, guys. And there's hundreds and hundreds of tailgates. So I would love to see a financial impact on really what the Reds and Bengals both mean to this city. And there's people that just don't know, and I really don't know what that hard number is, but man, it's something significant. I know that, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there at the end of the day. I got to prepare myself for the fight to get to the end and win at the end of the day here.
Jim, we fly in on Fridays, me and my family, and we stay downtown at the Hilton there at the Netherlands Plaza. And we meet people that are from Indiana, people that drive in 100 miles. They spend the weekend in Cincinnati. They get a hotel room, and they're watching games Saturday, college football game, and then, they go to the game Sunday. So they make it a weekend event. And, we love it. We've met people, we're friends with them, and it's just great. We love downtown Cincinnati. We absolutely love it. Once or twice a year, we're always up there. It's great. And I think they will get it done. I think the Bengals, I think the city and the county, they're going to make this work.
This is a hidden gem in the entire country. I mean, it's not a huge major town like Chicago, New York, LA. But let me tell you something. It's the best place to raise a family. And you have all the attributes of a big city. You got professional sports. There's so many little hidden gems, restaurants, bars, So many cool places around the tri-state here, Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati. It's an awesome city, man, and it would be devastating if something happened to the Reds or Bengals here. But it'll get done. It's going to get done, brother. And if my wife will let me, I would move downtown, but she doesn't want to move. So, but we're down, I'm down there 3, 4, 5 days a week, man. Just just a lot of times after work, the weekends, we spend half our life downtown, and it's just a bunch of good people. Like you said, people coming in town for like a Friday, coming back on a Monday. Guys, we see a boatload of people come in from Europe and in South America that they try to do back-to-back home games. They literally come in on a Saturday and stay the whole week and catch the other game. So they go back-to-back games, spending money in town. There's hundreds and hundreds of people that do that as well. So I can't wait to see when the financial impact stuff comes out, because I think the University of Cincinnati is doing that now. That's going to be part. That's going to be part of the negotiating for Hamilton County and the Bengals at the end of the day. I think it's going to be a big number.
Excellent.
Well, we have one of our listeners, 619, is going to his first home game, his first Bengals home game ever. He wants to know Eagles, Raiders, or Browns. Let me tell you, 619, before I tell you about prime time in Cincinnati. Whatever you do, you have got to go to Bengal Jim's tailgate. It is something you will never experience anywhere else. What do you think, Jim? Really quick though. Prime time in Cincinnati, right?
Man, I tell you what, there's nothing better than a home game in Cincinnati, and it's at a whole nother level when it's prime time, because we got 5 prime time games this year, guys, and several like 4 o'clock starts. So a lot of national TV for the boys this year. It's if you can get into a prime time game, that's the way to go, because I got a feeling they're going to be doing Strike the Jungle again, a whiteout. I mean, one of the most. Look, this, man. You and I have been at that stadium for many, many years, even through the 90s, every damn game in the 90s. I've been to 31 stadiums across the league. And I'll tell you, I'm not saying this because I'm, Bengal colored glasses on here, but has been nothing like prime time in Cincinnati over the last 2 or 3 years in any city. It's absolutely amazing. The energy and the city and this community coming together for these damn things gives me goosebumps thinking about it. But if you're going to come into a game, any game is going to be fine. But if you get to choose, make sure it's a primetime game, especially that Monday night game. There's going to be a lot of special things going on that third game of the year against Washington.
Commanders. Yes.
Well, Jim, that's going to lead me into my next question, Jim. So obviously the Ring of Honor. And again, for fans like the three of us, I mean, we've all been Bengal fans for over 40 years, and the Bengals establishing this Ring of Honor has been one of the best things in the last 2 decades of being a Bengals fan. For me, I know for you guys as well, honoring these ex-Bengals that some of them, unfortunately, did not get the benefit of having a Joe Burrow, but they still were incredible players and really helped carry this organization through the 90s, like the three of us all had to live through 43 wins in that decade. But let's talk about this Ring of Honor this year, Jim, because obviously there's some big names still out there to fill some spots. We're thinking, Mon and I were talking about this off air, we're thinking maybe that Washington game is going to be the Ring of Honor game. But what do you think, Jim? Just throw out a couple names. Obviously, we don't know yet who it's going to be. There is some big names out there, but who do you think are the front runners right now for those 2 spots in the Ring of Honor?
I tell you what, everybody that's on that list the Bengal puts out is deserving. There's no wrong choice. There's absolutely no wrong choices. But guys, I just don't want another player. And I agree. Dave Lapham should be in there, but I just don't want another Ken Riley. It was just heartbreaking to see Ken Riley and his family, Ken Riley II and his family out there, possibly getting into the Ring of Honor. I think it's important, man. We get Lamar Parrish and Corey Dillon in. Look, guys, I think Lamar Parrish and Corey Dillon are also Hall of Famers, in my opinion, and it's part of what we've been talking about since 2019. With the jungle to the hall, and us starting the great 8 that we're pushing in there. But look, I mean, I think Max Montoya should be in there, Dave Lapham. I think Ocho, obviously Ocho's already in there, and the guys that are already in there are great. But my votes this year are going to be Lamar Parrish because he's one of the older guys, and Corey Dillon, which is one of the younger guys. But man, I hate seeing some of these other guys not in there, right? Like, Trump, Trumpy, and Bob Johnson's not even on the list, right? But Lamar Parrish, people don't understand that guy should have went in last year, year before last. That guy was the Deion Sanders of the 1970s. He did it all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kicks, punts, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, playing right next to Ken Riley. This guy was really, really special, and he's definitely a Ring of Honor and a Hall of Famer in our opinion, not even close. So I think it's important. The reason I mention those two is because we do feel pretty strongly that Ken Anderson is going to get the nod this August out of the senior committee. And then Willie Anderson finished in the top 7. He needed to be top 5 to make it. So finishing in that top 10 at 7, I think Willie Anderson next year. But we got to keep focusing on these guys. We can't focus on them all at one time. We got to focus on one or two to keep fighting. The next two in line are Lamar, in my opinion, Lamar Parrish and Corey Dillon, because I don't think there's any way in hell these guys have a shot to get into the Hall of Fame unless they're in the Bengals Ring of Honor first.
Man, those are two great choices. And you're right about Lamar Parrish. What upsets me about Lamar Parrish, he doesn't even get discussed for Hall of Fame. It's like he's not even. It's not even. It doesn't even get talked about. It's crazy, but that transitions into the Hall of Fame. Jungle to the Hall, Jungle Jam coming up. You just briefly mentioned the two Andersons. It's going to be their year. It's going to happen. But talk to us. I was lucky enough to be at Jungle to the Hall, the first one. That was so much fun. All that blueberry beer, and the one coming up, Jungle Jam on July 20th. Tell us about it, please. Talk about it.
Yeah, so just for those that don't know, we were as a group, as a fan base, just frustrated as hell about one Bengal being in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Anthony Munoz. So what can we do other than bitch on social media? What else could we do? So I remember this phone call with my buddy James, one of my partners, my good friend that does a lot of stuff with the tailgate and our away parties and everything else that we do. I was bitching to James about it. We literally said, you know what? Let's do some sort of event. We didn't know what we were going to call it. We were looking for a place, and we came, I think James is the one that came up Jungle to the Hall. And I literally called one day at lunch from work. I called the Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame. Said, hey, do you have any facilities or, event tents we could rent at the Hall of Fame up there? And sure enough, I get a call back from them, and they were gracious. They just went out of their way. Mon, you've seen it. We had a big tent up there. And what's crazy, there were so many people that showed up, they had to keep putting chairs out. Willie Anderson showed up. And there was a major storm down in Cincinnati where electric was out. So kind of thank goodness, because if everybody would have showed up that said they were going to show up, we wouldn't have had enough room in that tent. So we knew in that goal, the only goal of that was totally just to bring fans together to celebrate our legends that we feel should be in the Hall of Fame and stir conversation nationally about it. And there were so many media outlets and podcasts and national outlets that picked up that Jungle to the Hall, and it stirred national conversation. I mean, we had 4 Hall of Fame voters that we talked to. Every one of them saw what was going on and had conversations about it. And that was the goal of that thing at the end of the day. So, excuse me, guys. So we did it each of the last 3 years. Last year we did it down at the Banks. We had a couple thousand people at the Banks. We rented the Banks out, had the Jumbotron, had a stage set up. We had probably 20 former players come down with Ted Karras as well. And it was hotter than hell. It was so hot down there. So this year we decided, let's make this thing even bigger. And we rented out. It's called Jungle Jam, but part of Jungle Jam will be a program, Jungle to the Hall 4, and it's going to be part of this event on July 20th. We rented out Megacourt Pavilion over in Newport, Kentucky. It's an indoor-outdoor concert venue that we can fit 2,500 people inside and outside. It is an awesome facility for us. Guys, we're up to almost 50 players going to be in attendance. A ton of former players. Jeff Blake's coming in. Corey Dillon had given us the nod about a month ago that he's definitely coming. We got Jeezel Pete's, Max Montoya, Jeezel. Who else am I? I'm trying to think of everybody else. We're waiting on to hear back from Munoz and all these other guys. We got so many players coming. The players on the screen that you see here have all committed. And last Thursday, we got the commitment from Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor said he would be there. And
That's awesome.
We're going to have a 2024 season preview that we're going to have Dan Horde facilitate for us with Coach Taylor and some other current players. And another program is going to be that Jungle to the Hall. We think, I'm waiting to hear back from Isaac Curtis. We think we're going to have 4. And Ken Riley II's coming in town again as well. We're going to have 5. We're going to have 5 guys that we're focusing on as fans to try to get into that Hall of Fame, all up on stage at the same time. It is going to be, James keeps calling it, it's going to be a 3-ring circus, guys. It is. We're going to have a bunch of inflatables for kids. We have a cigar area. We have a cornhole tournament for charity. We're going to have tailgating vehicles. We're going to have about 22 vendors there selling Bengal merch and all kinds of unique Bengal stuff. We're going to have a live band there. We're going to have a DJ there. It is going. We had a VIP area that sold out in less than half an hour. It is going to be a fun event. Now, the player situation is going to be fluid. We're going to start making announcements on commitments soon after June 1st. And so people will start to see all the players that have made commitments. So we're going to be able to announce probably 2 a day starting June 2nd or 3rd of the players that are coming in for this event. And that has been tedious getting all these players, and then I've got a bunch of players that have committed. And I got a bunch of players that said, hey, it's too soon for me to commit type thing. So we'll be sending out more specific details and everything that's going on. Marissa Contepelli's coming down. Houday, the mascot's going to be there. We've got the Bengal cheerleaders coming. It's going to be a fun, family-friendly event. After the event's over with, Newport on the Levee is one of our title sponsors. And literally, they're decking the Newport on the Levee out in all orange and black. They're doing all kinds of stuff down there, Bengal theme related. James Rapine, everybody knows James Rapine. He's going to be there doing a live broadcast from the event that will be streamed directly to Newport on the Levee for the people that can't get in because it's going to sell out. They get 2 giant monitors down at the levee. So we're going to be streaming our event at Newport on the Levee. So after we're done packing up, we're heading down to the levee, having some beers and drinks and finally relaxing because it's going to be a long day that day. But we've already sold.
I got my tickets.
Did you really?
Yeah.
We're close to 2,000, and that's really without hitting a bunch of media. We've got a few media things going on, but over the next 30 days, all the local stations, all the radio stations are picking this thing up. So it's going to sell out. We don't have enough room for everybody, but we're almost at 2,000 tickets sold. And that's a big deal. I mean, it's $20, but there's fees on top of that $20. People, I know there's credit card fees and facility fees. It might be $25 after it's all said and done. But if there's kids that are 12 and under, one paying adult can bring 2 kids 12 and under free. We're not even charging for the kids. So trust me, there's a lot of kids going to be there. This is going to be a really fun event. We won't have the details on who's signing autographs and who's not until we get closer to the event. Regardless, who's signing and who's not signing, it's going to be a fun day for Bengals. Kind of kick off the season, basically, at the end of the day.
Listen, $25, $30, guys. I mean, are you serious? This is going to be incredible, Jim. I'm just sitting here listening to this. I'm so excited. I'm trying to work out my schedule so I can come. I mean, it's going to be absolutely incredible. Again, Mont, he's the glue, right? Jim.
No, Jake, just Mont's got a private plane. If he doesn't bring you up in a damn plane,
I don't have that Arabian oil money. No way.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We have, I mean, myself, James, Craig, Tom, Tony. We've got so many. The Houday ladies are helping with some stuff. We got so many people working really, really hard on this, and it's right now it's overwhelming. But I can't wait for the day to get here. But it's going to be a lot of fun for the fans. We're excited about it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I went ahead and bought tickets, and like I said, I might have a scheduling issue, but I'm working really hard. But I had to get the tickets just in case. I didn't want that have the opportunity of not being able to get in. But
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the other nice thing that I just want to make sure clarity, like 100%, we have some huge costs. This facility was very expensive. There's a lot of costs that we have into this thing. These inflatables we paid for, the insurance for the event. I can't begin to tell you how much this all costs. But anything that is beyond covering our cost, 100% of that is going directly to charities. We got 5 charities that we're working with. Jimmy and Robin Burrow are going to be there. We're going to do a check presentation, Jimmy and Robin, for Joe Burrow's foundation.
Awesome.
It's a Small Town Big Dreams, which is Cordell Volson's new charity, will be part of this. We got Ken Anderson Alliance, Village of Marici, which is obviously Ted's big charity. Revive Family Foundation are the 5 that we're focusing on. So, man, we think we could get to $50,000 for these 5 charities, and that's all because of the fans out there, because them attending this. There's silent auctions. Harrah's Casino gave us 2 suite tickets in Kansas City and 2 tickets to the game versus the Chiefs, the second game of the year. And that's a process. If you click on the link or do that QR code there, it will take you to there. You don't have to be present. If you're out of town, you can't make it. You can bid on items. Got some great items from Bengal Bids, Harrah's Casino. We got all kinds of stuff on there. I think the Harrah's stuff is there's a lot of people bidding on that suite and those tickets to the Kansas City game.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that is awesome. That alone is worth the cost. Listen, Jim, I want to ask you. Eric and I had Dan Hort on not too long ago, right here on the Bengals Pulse. He's the best, right?
He's awesome.
Jim, I mean, he's incredible. So we want to play you his prediction real quick, and after we play it, we want to see if you agree with this or not. I kind of know the answer, I think, but let's go ahead. Eric, can we play Dan Hort's prediction real quick on the Bengals 2024 season? Did they do what they needed to do this offseason to hopefully, Dan, all of us, Bengal Pulse, Dan Hort, Dave Lapham, the whole crew hanging out in New Orleans?
It's happening. They did enough, and it's happening. I mean, it was written in the stars. Burrow and Chase are going back to the Bayou, and I am going to become the first Bengals broadcaster to call a Super Bowl title. It's happening.
Yes.
It's happening this year.
I love it, Dan. I love it.
Listen, and I'm not just hyping this up. I genuinely believe it. They went 9-8, basically with Joe Burrow playing 5 games last year.
That's right.
They addressed the weaknesses, if you want to use that term, that they had between free agency and the draft. This is one of the best teams in the NFL. And if Joe Burrow stays healthy, I'm knocking on wood, they are going to play for the Super Bowl title in the Superdome. Mark it down. See you on Bourbon Street.
Listen, we are going to be partying.
Does anybody disagree with Dan at all?
I mean, how can you disagree with that, right?
No, I think it's, if there's ever, you guys have seen it, heard this, right? If there's ever an NFL script, you got to be kidding me. This is the year. This is the year. So this is the stuff legends are made of, man. Joe Burrow and this team, it will go down as the best team in Bengals history. I mean, there's been some damn good teams, right? 75, 2005, 2015, 81, 88. None of them brought home that Super Bowl victory, and this team's built to win it this year. So, hell yeah, I agree with Dan Hort. I'll go a step further. We're going undefeated this year. We're breaking the Dolphins record. We're going 17-0 in regular season.
Hey, listen, Eric, listen, Jim. Eric said that on we did our early prediction. Mon said 12-5. I said 14-3, and Eric said
we're going 17 and Joe. That's the only way I'm popping.
17 and Joe. Dude, you got to use that. I'm going to steal that. That's awesome. 17 and Joe.
Listen, Eric said, Miami Dolphins. You might as well put that champagne away because there's going to be no pop in the champagne this year. The Bengals are running the table.
Can you see national TV as it gets later in the year when the Bengals are 14-0, 15-0, and the Miami Dolphins not popping, the whole team not popping the cork on that damn thing? I'm going to love to see their expression. So
that would be something.
Hey, I don't care what happens through the season as long as we're there at the end of the year with that big dub. But guys, if we stay healthy, we're going to be tough to beat, guys. There's always
You know what
there's always peaks and valleys throughout the season, right? But I'm excited, man. I'm excited about it.
Jim, you know what I'm looking forward to? Obviously, I'm looking forward to being in New Orleans with all you guys celebrating this thing. But I cannot wait to see what we're doing the night before, because Mon and I had the pleasure of going out to LA, hanging out with you. That let me tell you, I tell people all the time, it's even hard to talk about how awesome that pregame party was the night before the Super Bowl in downtown LA.
It was amazing.
Jim, that's one of my favorite moments of all time, because the '88 team is still my favorite team of all time. So to get to hang out and party with those guys, Jim, was just an incredible. I cannot wait to see. Jim, you got to one-up it on Bourbon Street. You heard Dan. I mean, we're all going to be partying together. You got to one-up it.
So our crew has been already talking about, away games, pre-day night before parties and stuff like that. So there's things in the works for that. But man, I can't wait. And that LA Super Bowl party the night before when Coolio came out on stage, we were keeping that a secret. We were keeping that a secret for 2 weeks. And it was to see all the former Bengal players show up. I had no idea that they were coming. So that was a fun year, fun weekend. Bengals didn't bring it home, but man, can you imagine? You're one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL and still should have won that damn game. If we had this year's offensive line, we would have won that thing going away.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt. We talk about that all the time. Hey, listen, before we get you out of here, Jim, one last question. It's going to kind of lead into that. You talked about it there for a minute. We know you guys. You said you've been to 31 stadiums. This year, when you look at that schedule, what jumps out at you on the schedule, and what are you excited about? Where are you excited about going this year?
Tell you what, the plan is to hit them all home and away. I don't laugh at me, guys, but I'm really excited about going to Dallas on Monday night. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. Growing up having to watch them and the Detroit Lions every Thanksgiving, right? I couldn't stand watching them, but to be in Dallas on Monday night, I'm pretty excited about that. Now they didn't lose a home game last year until the playoffs, guys. That's a damn good team. We're going to be playing on Monday night in Dallas, but man, all these years, you remember looking back, guys, we didn't get a whole lot of primetime games, if any. Most of this schedule, even if it's just 5, but we got a lot of 4 o'clock games that most of the country's going to be watching as well, and you're probably going to see some flex later in the year. So I'm excited about all these games. We're looking forward to the Kansas City road trip. We got some big plans there. Nashville's always fun. Dallas is. I'm pretty excited about Dallas for sure. And then going to Los Angeles. I've been out there before, but I haven't seen them play the Chargers there.
The
return trip, yeah.
It's exactly.
The Bengals.
That was a rough night, Mon.
The Bengals are must-see TV. The Bengals are must-see TV.
Yes.
You mentioned the 4 o'clock game is like a national game.
It is.
That's a
really
prestigious time slot. I think they have 2 or 3 of those. So, yeah, it's exciting. I like our chances. And Jim, thank you so much, man. You are the glue. You really are. I mean that. And no, man. I mean, listen. I appreciate you so much. Everything you do for Bengal Nation. I just want you to know I appreciate it. You're the best.
We love you, guys, man. Thank you so much, man. It's just so fun. Just you've been to so many games and tailgates. Just bringing people together, having fun. It's not just a bunch of folks out there pounding beers, getting drunk. It's a bunch of families. We rent out half that park. Just bringing people together, having a good time, and tying that into a charity every single game. And whatever charity it is, they're at the tailgate that day, kind of going around selling raffles, and we'll raise a couple, $2 or $3 grand for that charity that day. They're going around to the tailgate. I'm so excited about the platform, social media platform with all the fans, the tailgate platform, and to be able to use that to bring people together. And on top of that, helping out a lot of local charities here. And that's, to me, that makes me feel good at the end of the day, man, which is fun to see.
Well, Jim, everything you do for the city of Cincinnati is for the right reasons. You're one of the most genuine people I have ever met. And again, like Mon said, I'm just so appreciative of everything you do. And I know you're a humble guy, and I appreciate that about you. But, man, I know there are thousands and thousands of Bengal fans out there that feel the same way. You are truly the man. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, guys. We're all in this together, man, and I just can't wait to get this damn season going. I can't wait to get everybody together again and start having fun pregame and going into the game, walking out with that dub. So it's going to be an exciting season, guys.
Well, Hope to see you in July. Hope to see you in July.
Say, hopefully we get to see you in July. Mon, I'm going to jump on your is G6. What is it? G6 you have, right? I'm going to jump on his G6, and we're going to make our way up.
It's a biplane. You'll be on the wing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's one of those start the propel. Jim, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you. Tell everybody, I know everybody knows where to find you, Jim, but tell everybody where they can find you and what you have going on.
Just any social media platform, Bengal Jim and Friends. My buddies don't want to put my damn name on everything to tailgate. They're marketing people. They wanted to tailgate. I would have never done it myself. I swear to you, if anybody knows me, knows better. But Bengal Jim and Friends, I have a lot of good friends, and any platform, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, we're all there. We just had Cordell Volson on the show last night, and it's such an easy team to root for, guys. There's just so many good guys. There's so many good guys on this team, genuinely good guys. When you hear all the people talking about culture and, Zach Taylor talking about culture of this team, trust me, when you talk to these guys, these are good human beings. These aren't the Bengal players from the 90s, guys. If you remember all those issues we had, these are good human beings. And that's when you can take a chance on maybe somebody that might be a little questionable, maybe like a Jermaine Burton that people were talking about.
Yes.
When you have a locker room with this many great guys, they're not going to let shit happen to that locker room, guys.
You're right.
And the other thing I love about TJ Hushmanzada training this guy, if you remember TJ when he first got here, guys, he was just as emotional as Jermaine Burton, that same type of individual. So I think they got to steal with Jermaine Burton. I keep talking about it. Everybody likes shiny receivers and quarterbacks and all that stuff, but I truly believe they got something special there. I know TJ Hushmanzada would agree with that as well. But looking forward to the season, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. You guys are awesome. You guys are killing it. Keep doing what you guys are doing. And
appreciate you.
Hope we'll see you in July.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll see you during the season.
We'll
Absolutely, buddy.
Man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you, bud.
Who
day.
Dude, he's
man,
the best.
Oh, man.
He is the best.
He is the best. He's the best.
You hit it right on the head. He's so genuine.
I mean,
all right. I still see it.
He's he's so humble. He's so humble, and you don't want to put that out there and make it awkward. But it's hard not to say it because he's such a genuine guy. Everything he does is for other people. It's for the right reasons. That's why he's the best.
Yeah, just to add on to it, people see the podcast and they see a lot of the stuff. But if you haven't been to a game in Cincinnati and you haven't been down to the tailgate that he puts on, there is so much work that man and his team puts into that tailgate. They don't get to enjoy it. They're not able to tailgate like the rest of us. They are hustling. They're out there before the gates open up. Like, there is so much that goes into coordinating that. It is a selfless job. Like he said, his name is on it, his picture's on it, but his soul is in that, in making sure that that's good for the rest of us and helps raise funds for charity. So
I remember, Eric, I remember a couple years ago, I was at his tailgate and I had never gone to one of the other ones, the bomb squad. I didn't know where it was. He goes, "Mon, it's over here. They're good people. You have a good time." And he basically drew it on it. This is where you need to go, because I was clueless. I just go there, then I go into the stadium, and he gave me directions how to get there and everything. I went there and had a good time with that crew. And he's just, he just wants the fans to have a good time. Yeah. And you hit it right on the head. There's no ego, man. There's no ego. No, he's just good people.
And Eric, you were saying it before too. Is if anybody's ever been, Jim is. I mean, it is 4, 5, 6 hours of just work, but he always finds a way to make himself out there for the Bengal fans, taking pictures, shaking hands, talking to people, genuinely talking to people. He's just the best. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He's such a great dude, and I'm glad to call him a friend. I feel very fortunate to call him a friend. So, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that is another edition of the Bengals Pulse. As always, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. Yes. Bengal Pulse. Go out and get you one. There it is right there. Check it out, guys. Check it out. We got the merch now. We got the regulars and the color rush. Go out and get you something. As always, guys, check out Mon on Twitter at the Firemon. Check out me on Twitter at Coach Jake Owens 9. Check out Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Cincinnati Podcast Network on Twitter at Cincinnati Pod. And as always, guys, follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at Bengals_Pulse9 on Instagram. The same without the at Bengals_Pulse9. And as always, guys, check out all the awesome podcasts right here on the Cincinnati Podcast Network. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Hooday to all of you. We love you guys. We appreciate you. As always, that is Mon. He is Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hooday, Bengal fans. We'll see you next week.